What's up, you guys? Michael Elefante here. Sorry, it's been probably over a week since I last posted, but it's been a whirlwind of a week this week, and even going back to last weekend. So, as many of you know who've seen some previous videos, my wife and I have closed on a new mountain house as an investment property / secondary home that we can use to vacation to time. But I went over several of the investment numbers and how it's going to work out. Some of the things we're doing to, remodel the place, mostly cosmetic, new flooring, new paint, lots of new furniture, and things like that. So I've been getting a lot of questions about how to, almost look at it from the lens of a project manager and how to kind of manage that type of investment where you're juggling multiple things. You have to furnish a place or refurnish a place. You have to figure out how much you're going to spend and hire out contractors, what you want to do yourself or hire a handyman for. So there's a lot of moving parts that go into it. And ultimately, in this case with this house, we got a terrific investment property that just needed some love. I think it was passed up by several other homeowners that were in the market or other investors that were looking for maybe a more turnkey rental, especially in the mountain area. You're used to seeing the turnkey, all wood cabins, already furnished. They all look two and the same. So we took it as an opportunity and had a little bit of vision and how can we create some X factor and bring this property back to life. And I'm going to show you guys the before and after photos, maybe some video in the next few weeks once we're finished. We're about halfway done with the process now, but I wanted to dive into a specific example of how to budget for and ultimately furnish a property, because many new investors, it's a daunting task, let alone going through the loan process, working with lenders, getting pre-approved, finding an agent to work with, figuring out what properties are going to be good investments and how to evaluate them, things like that. So I've done lots of videos on evaluation of properties, especially from a short-term rental perspective, but I wanted to show you guys how I specifically kind of design and keep track of everything that we need to buy for a property and how to keep it in and around our budgeted amount. All right, so we're going to dive into that in just a second, but if you guys can, please like and subscribe below. I appreciate it. If you guys are watching on Instagram, throw me a like. Please also go to YouTube if you have a chance and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post a lot of this content that I post here on Instagram, but sometimes additional content as well on YouTube. All right, so first, before we get into the nuts and bolts of how to kind of go about the process of furnishing a place, and for this specific example, we're going to be talking about Airbnb, because long-term rentals, you're off more times than not furnishing it and renting it out a furnished place, although you are sometimes, some people do that. But for short-term rentals, you have to furnish a place and basically operate as a micro hotel, right? I mean, you are operating for weekend stays, week-long stays for the most part. So how do you create that X factor? Because it is critical to create some type of X factor within the property that helps you stand out among other Airbnbs out there on the market. If you go into Nashville, New York, the Smoky Mountains, the beach, anywhere, lake houses, things like that, you could scroll through hundreds, if not thousands of listings, and they all start to blend together. And think about it from a consumer's perspective, you are emotionally drawn to properties, right? Especially if you're going with a family or a group of friends, or maybe your significant other, and you're looking for a place that can make your trip a little extra special while still fitting into your budget. So while you scroll through and while other people scroll through listings on Airbnb, they get one photo and your initial description to click on your photo and say, hey, I want to learn more, and swipe through the first 5 photos or so. So how do we create a property while still staying in a specified budget that we have up front of additional money we're able to invest to furnish a property appropriately, to get more clicks, to get more bookings, ultimately to get more reviews and more traction, and then later down the road you're going to boost your ranking in Airbnb search and also have the opportunity to raise your rates, because if you're getting booked more, then you have the ability to raise your rates with the increased demand. So again, why is it important? You have a lot of competition out there, so you have to figure out a way to differentiate yourself from what everyone else is doing. And more times than not, whatever area that you're looking to invest in, many of the rentals are going for the same thing, right? If you go to Nashville, there's typically a picture of some guitars or someone singing on the wall, and the furniture all kind of looks two and the same, and there's really nothing special about most of the properties. So how do you create an X factor? And we'll talk about different ways to differentiate here in a minute, but there's a lot of competition out there is the point I'm trying to get across. Again, you have to cater towards someone's emotional appeal. Are you catering toward people celebrating bachelorette or bachelor parties? Are you catering toward families? It often depends on the area that you're investing in, but you have to know your target market. You can't just kind of go in blindly. You may still get some bookings, but if you want to maximize your revenue potential, you have to know what your actual target market is. Next, and this one is incredibly important, is social media. And even if you don't create your own personal, or business social media pages or platforms on Instagram or Facebook or things like that to actually self-market your properties, I do for one of our properties, and we may do it for the mountain house as well. I know other people that do it. Even if you don't do that, it's important to create what I call Instagrammable moments in your property, right? Whether that's a rooftop lounge, a mural to take a picture, and a cool seating, decor that is actually unique and doesn't just blend in with all the other houses in the area. Something that draws, again, at the emotional appeal of the target market, the target renter that you're going after. If they can see themselves staying in that place, not only are they thinking, wow, that looks like a great place I can have a great time in, but more times than not, if they're going with a group of friends or just their family even, they're thinking, wow, that looks like a place I can take photos or videos in and show everybody how great of a time I'm having. And that's incredibly important. I think a lot of investors don't think about this enough, because the more people that stay in your property and post videos and pictures and do, hashtag Nashville or hashtag Smoky Mountains, whatever, hashtag beach life, all those things, there are millions of people who follow all those hashtags, and they see those photos. Even people that don't follow them directly, they see those photos that they post, and that's immediate traction for your property. Because all it takes is one, two, or a few people to reach out to one of those guests that posted a picture of your place, say, hey, this is awesome, where'd you stay? And then they'll send the link to them. So we've had referral bookings in our place in Nashville before from that alone. So it is incredibly important, again, to create a differentiating factor. All right, so if you're a new investor and you're figuring out, all right, I found a place, I think it's worthy of my investment, it's sold unfurnished, then you need to figure out how much money you have on top of the down payment you need after speaking with your lender, and how much that factors into your investment and the return on your investment projections. So a lot of houses that are already rentals, they'll sell fully furnished, but more often than not, you're going to want to make your own unique changes to it, right? So you have to figure out how much money are you ready to put forth, and where should you allocate more money to, and where should you look to save money, right? It wouldn't always make sense to spend $500 on an amazing coffee maker in your rental when you could spend it on maybe, great rooftop furniture or backyard furniture with awesome lighting, maybe a cool, painting or mural in the house. Again, something that creates, an X factor for your property. So we're going to talk about where to spend money here in a minute. All right, guys, so I'm going to dive into just some screenshots of the most recent investment that we're doing here in the mountains. And this one's a little bit different than the past ones, where we're actually doing some remodeling, and I've hired out contractors to rip up the carpet, put in new flooring, paint all the walls, paint fireplace, do all sorts of cool things to try to make the property unique and stand out. Because here in the Smoky Mountains, most of the properties are somewhat two in the same, right? They're all the rustic, all a bunch of wood cabins, and same decor everywhere. So we're trying to differentiate and cater toward a market where we might be able to charge a little bit more money and get booked, more than the average cabin is out here. So this is actually the exact spreadsheet that we're going through right now. My wife and I are doing, and we had a budget originally, so I'll talk about that here in a minute. But exactly how we basically furnished each room by room, and also the accumulated costs that come along with this, so we know pretty much how much we're going to be spending before we ever actually spend $1 on furnishing it. So using technology is great, right? Because you can go to Amazon, go to Wayfair, and you can figure out all these different items you have, maybe what's on sale, what's not. You can even go to Facebook Marketplace, and then you could do links into the spreadsheet to actually go back and reference, or go, and then further down the road, you can go back and reference if something breaks. You can go back to that specific property, and maybe in the living room, couch, boom, you have your couch link right there, exactly how much it costs to replace it. So it is beneficial to have this long term as well. So let's go ahead and check out the spreadsheet. All right, so you'll see at the top, right, the biggest thing here is the sum of the total cost. And this says of column F, right? So this is just my own specific spreadsheet I created. And this is about right on target of where we wanted to be. We originally had a budget of $45,000 for again, this is additional to just furnishing the place. This included the new floors, the labor, the actual hardware, paint, all sorts of stuff. And as you're going to see as we kind of scroll down through this spreadsheet, we start with just kind of house miscellaneous. This is stuff that we ended up kind of adding along the way. But starts out with some of the major things that maybe like outlets. You need to replace the outlet covers or something like that. So it's nothing specific to any particular room, right? So you'll see on the right side as well, we have the total cost of, again, house miscellaneous. So this adds up all of the costs of the individual items. So I already have formulas in the spreadsheet to where it just basically auto-populates and filters the total up to each category total and ultimately up to the total sum of all the costs. Now, originally when I create the spreadsheet, my wife and I, it's just blank, right? So as we begin to look to order things, or at least evaluate how much they cost, we start putting in links into each of the cells in column B here. So we know exactly what it is, and then we have the quantity in the next column, and then it's multiplied by the unit price, and then we get our total cost. Again, that just kind of auto-populates and auto-filters over all the way up to the total cost. So this is incredibly important because you need to know about how much you're spending, or maybe what your budget is per room, right? And again, this goes back to what kind of X factor are you looking for your place, right? Do you have a unique space in the living room, or do you have a cool basement or a game room? Maybe you have a patio or a rooftop lounge. What is going to be the one space that is going to be your money shot, that is probably going to be your first or second photo on the Airbnb listing? Because ultimately that's what's going to get you clicks, and that's where, again, we're going to want to spend more of our money on. So for us, as we scroll down through here, our money shot is going to be the living room and then the outdoor space. Now, we also have a game room, so that'll be our third shot. And when I say shot, I'm referencing the order of the photos on the Airbnb listing. So we ultimately wanted to spend more on the living room and bringing that up to a more modern living room than what we're used to seeing in the Smoky Mountains. So we have all of the items that we knew we wanted by looking at the photos on the listing and after we came out and saw the property. So once we started punching in these numbers and saw what the total cost was, we had to reevaluate, are we overspending on some things, or do we have extra budget to spend? And then we can go back in and upgrade or add more items. So again, it is important to keep a running total, and then you can, again, figure out if you're on target for your total budget or not and how much wiggle room you have left. So all these different sections are different rooms in the house. So again, we have the living room, the game room, and the game room half bath, master bathroom, and so on and so forth. But you could see, costs for some of the rooms, because this house we bought was furnished. We didn't have to buy everything completely new. So we utilized some of the bed frames, which saved us a bit of money, and actually sold off a lot of the old furniture on Facebook Marketplace, which helped us recoup some of our investment as well. So again, I have all the bedrooms in here and all the bathrooms, all the things we need to buy. And again, going back to the color coding, you can see at the top, we have delivered and ordered, right? So for ordered items, those are things that we have shopped on, typically Wayfair or Amazon, sometimes other websites as well, but those two are the best because their customer service is great. They handle returns very easily if you need to return something, and you can pretty accurately estimate when you need to ship them, right? If you need to ship some larger items ahead of time, you could do that. But more times than not, a lot of the smaller items are showing up in 2 to 3 days. So that is important. So it is nice to keep track of what's been ordered, and then ultimately when it shows up at our door, what's been delivered, so we can keep track of, again, what inventory we already have and what we can planning on get started on first as far as furnishing the house, and what order we want to do that in. Now, I am willing to share this spreadsheet with folks, at least for a limited time. I've done this in the past with other, investment analysis tools that I've built. Right now, I'm willing to share this stuff totally free of cost. I love meeting new people. I've met several people through YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, through mutual friends, and have some awesome conversations. It's really cool to see all the people out there that are interested in real estate investment, and like me about a year ago, just didn't know where to get started. So I will say the most important thing is to reach out to people and just chat. The real estate investing community is honestly one of the most open investment communities I've ever even seen, certainly been a part of. But I've been amazed at how open people are about sharing resources, sharing tools, sharing experiences, and even passing on investment properties that maybe they're not ready for, or they're not in the market at the time, but they're willing to pass on, hey, this is a great deal, I think you should jump on it, type of thing. There's tons of that going on, so I encourage everybody to reach out to people. Again, for this specific spreadsheet, feel free to reach out to me. I'm willing to share a template with you guys, and you can toy with it as you evaluate properties on your own. So lastly, I'm going to talk about some items that I would encourage people to splurge more on, and items that I think you should save more money on. And this is after experience and running a couple properties for about a year now, and realizing some things get damaged over time, some things hold up, what's worth spending money on nicer furniture and things like that on, and what's worth saving money on. So I'll start with things to definitely save money on. And I think we made a mistake. We bought pretty nice extra large bath sheets, and they weren't particularly really expensive, but they were more expensive than just standard, almost like hotel white towels, which I would recommend getting for everybody. We were trying to cater toward more of like a luxury stay, which is great. But here's a couple issues. As we found out really quickly that people don't really give a crap about staining their towels, especially when it's not their own house. We have a lot of women stay at our place for bachelorette parties, things like that, which is who we're catering toward. But we even leave out makeup towels that are black and won't show makeup stains. But almost every stay we have to replace a few towels, just from mascara and other makeup items. We've actually had someone throw up in a towel and roll it up before. Most of our stays are not like that, but we have had a few. So things like towels and linens, and even mattresses, don't spend a fortune on. You can get really quality stuff that is cheap and replaceable if something terrible happens. So don't spend a ton of money on those items that are used often and are going to ultimately need to be replaced, because that cost is going to keep on churning, quarter over quarter. Most furniture, I wouldn't say go spend a ton of money on. You don't have to get designer furniture, designer brands. You can find tons of very quality furniture on Amazon, definitely on Wayfair. We order most of our furniture on Wayfair. Again, we're going for durability and not necessarily luxury, because we don't need to spend a fortune on, a particular, set of dining chairs, or maybe, living room furniture, accent furniture, side tables, things like that. You can find some great furniture that looks awesome and fits the vibe you're going for, that you also aren't breaking the bank on, because ultimately you're going to have accidents. It's going to get nicks and bruises along the way. So those pieces may have to be replaced, every few years. So just be prepared for that. Now, some places where I would encourage you guys to, spend some money that you saved in other areas and spend money here. And again, I keep saying the term X factor. What are you going for, and what are your money shots going to be for the photography for your place and ultimately your listing on Airbnb? If you have an outdoor area of any type, that is an X factor area, guys. You need to, probably splurge on some nicer outdoor furniture and get some maybe string lights, and just create an area that you can see a ton of people just having a blast hanging out in. Again, creating those Instagrammable or social media moments for them. And again, splurge on those areas. Ultimately, those will pay dividends down the road over and over and over again. Another thing I like to spend money on, it actually doesn't cost very much money at all, is you can get cheap peel and stick wallpaper off Wayfair, off Amazon, off whatever other wallpaper and decorative sites out there, and you can do accent walls. And I think this is huge in bedrooms, because if you look at a lot of Airbnbs online, they're just plain white walls with boring decor, boring furniture, and it doesn't really sell me when I'm looking at a place. Now, if you can go online and see a place with a really cool like brick accent wall or wood accent wall, even if it's just cheap wallpaper, in photos and even in person, it looks great, and it adds like a colorful taste to a room that most people don't take the time to do. So splurge on adding touches like that ultimately will grab someone's, it'll pull at their heart and pull at their emotions, and ultimately hopefully get you more clicks and more bookings. Now, if you have a game room or bar area, this is another place. If you're catering toward younger crowd that you think will be, staying up a little later, catching up with maybe, they're on a friend's reunion trip or something like that, and they're going to be sharing some drinks and laughs in a particular room, like a lounge area, it'd be cool to maybe spend extra money on the lighting in the room, maybe have like a unique bar setup, unique decor, and nicer furniture in that particular area. Because again, you're looking for that X factor, and if that's the particular area that you think is going to get you that emotional hook and more bookings, definitely spend more money there. So that's a wrap, guys. Appreciate you watching. Again, please do like and subscribe below. I am really excited to share this place. I've been in the mountains for the past week. Still working my day job, obviously, but in the nights and during the day, just kind of coordinating with contractors and getting this place fixed up. Got boxes showing up every day. So I'm super stoked to do a walkthrough and show you guys before and after photos. And we should be listed and live here on Airbnb, maybe VRBO as well, probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So super pumped about that. But again, if you're watching on Instagram, guys, please go to YouTube when you have a chance, or next time you're on YouTube, click on my channel, hit subscribe. I really do appreciate it. And we'll catch you guys next time.